welcome to episode 117 of the Wrist Cheese Radio Podcast, your place for horological hot takes, taboo topics, and often unpopular watch opinions. My name is Schmidt, and I'm joined by my good buddy. You guys know him, you love him, Mr. Bro Dinky. What's up, bro? How are you?
My man, it's good to be back. It's been a hot minute.
It has. It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It has. Thank you for all the well wishes for everybody who checked in on us to make sure that we were still alive, etc. For those who didn't quite catch it in previous episodes, I was welcoming my now third little boy to the equation here in our wonderful world. So I was out for a hot second. You know, the sleep cycles are a little bit much. Plus, chasing around the other two, I now have 3 under 5. So
yeah,
it was just a wee bit busy to be taking on everything at one time. I had a little bit of I took a little leave from work, and then I got back and I had to kind of catch up and do a bunch of events at the same time. So it's just been super hectic for me personally. So my apologies for sort of skipping a few weeks there. We did kind of put that out there a little bit in our last episode, but again, thank you for everybody who checked in or just wrote in and said, you know, we miss catching you guys on the weekly, or, you know, it's not the same. We appreciate all that. It was really, it's nice to hear once in a while.
It's nice to know that you guys care.
Nice to know you're missed, right?
Yes, it is nice to know you're missed. That was one thing that was really surprising to me as just like a sidebar thing. I was like, man, thank you. Like,
you like me.
They like me. They really, really like me. And then the people are like, dude, my Mondays or my Tuesdays just aren't the same. You know what I mean? It's like my commute to work is a little less tolerable. I was like, thanks. That means a lot. So here we are. We're back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. You know, and it's tough when you're kind of laying low, but you're getting sort of these things popping up little by little, and you're like, oh, I'd really love to give a good quick burn on this, but at the same time, it's you have to cut out a little block out of your week. You have to schedule it. You have to work your life around it. So, like I said, it's just been a wee bit hectic, but we're getting things back on track now, getting a little more normalcy. The little guy is now sleeping a couple hours at a time. So before it was, you hit that period where they just wake up sporadically and whenever they feel like, and they have to eat, otherwise they're just screaming their heads off. Now he'll do that, but as soon as he eats, he'll pass back out, and then he's out for a couple hours so you can catch up. And that was the other part, is I literally was just not sleeping at all. And I was like, oh, this is going to be tough to put something together and be mentally there and not just like mail one in.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that like any new parent will tell you, any new dad will tell you. It's just like that first few months of life is the most crazy because you're literally responsible for every aspect of them from the moment of birth to, feeding and all these things. And it's going to be a good several months before you're like, okay, I can comfortably like lay you down for like a hot second and you may not die, right? And it's exhausting. You're figuring out the routine of your kid and how they're going to be and all these things. And it's a lot. It's not always fun. And you're running on fumes and all kinds of stuff. And it's like your energy is not there.
Yeah, we're still at the phase where you turn your head for 5 seconds and now they barfed all of themselves and crapped. So you're like, here we go. It's just not an easy time.
It's coming out of both ends.
Yeah, it's not an easy time to free up some moments to record things, but finally getting a little more normalcy, back on track. Hopefully we'll be here for the foreseeable future. And again, just thanks for everybody for reaching out. I'm trying to think of anything I have to catch everybody up on. I did secure a pink Zodiac GMT for this year's Men Wear Pink, which is nice.
Really?
Had a great call with them the other day. They were very into it. I was hyped. So that's nice. So we're getting one of those.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Nick's going to do his end as always as well. But I think that's a nice start. So
I'm excited to see
I'll be getting that in
soon.
For this. Yeah, getting that in soon. That'll be sick. And we may even do something around wind up time in the city, which could be nice, could be fun. Something a little collaborative, which I'm open to, which is cool.
Love it.
Yep. So all good things on that end. I think in the news, and this was one when I saw it, I was like, oh man, I really want to hop on right now. Was the Wall Street Journal published an article about
Yeah.
Hodinkee, which every non-watch person in my life sent me,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, you got to take a look at like what is this?" And I'm like, "All right, well, let me explain this to you." So it's basically saying how Hodinkee started out and it became this big popular force. Then it started to grow, and we know that they expanded. They took on Crown and Caliber. They were making all these very strategic moves, and now the luxury watch market is not as popping as it was during the pandemic when people were stuck inside.
Wow,
And
as if people are surprised. I don't
well, I mean,
understand.
we've been beating this drum for a long time, and
Yeah.
I've mentioned that combined with that, with the sort of economic downturn and the folks, the regular folks that are struggling now, that luxury watch sales are kind of just on the back burner. It all makes sense in your head, and you sort of knew it was coming down the pipe,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
either way, the article sort of gives them a real ribbing about that, and then it's where we're at today, where it's sort of just it is what it is, and they sort of disbanded. Crown and Caliber is still there, but we know they've cut down significantly on it and everything.
Yeah. A lot of
Um,
staff, a lot of operational people, a lot of watchmakers and things like that for sure.
right, so that's what it's about mainly. And you think about sort of how the events unfolded. I mean, even after they acquired Crown and Caliber, I don't think they were offering cash for their watches for very long. I think they moved almost strictly to store credit.
Oh, really?
I know largely they did. I'm not going to say 100% because I don't I didn't try to sell them a lot of watches, but I
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I took talking to other people and just doing a little research. I know that they moved to largely to store credit, which totally sucks because
Yeah, for
then
sure.
you can't
Especially,
really
yeah,
reallocate that anywhere but there.
yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's the idea, right?
It's like
Like I
the
don't know, I
Chuck
don't
E. Cheese
know.
game plan.
Well, it's I don't know if these places exist by you, but there's a few stores in and around where I live that do like consignment stuff, right? Like you take a bag of clothes to them and like you can sell it to them, but it's also like a store you can buy stuff at.
Yeah.
And they always do this. And I've been telling my wife this is a huge scam for years and years and years and years and years. Because you bring them this bag of clothes and they're like, "Yeah, cool. We'll give you $5 for the whole bag." And it's like, 50 shirts or whatever it is. It's all bulk stuff. Or if you don't like the $5 offer, we'll give you a $25 credit to in-store. And you're like, "Well, I can give $5, which is actually like money. Or I can do $25 and buy some." And the whole idea is to give you more money so you just buy more crap that you'll eventually just bring back to them, right? And it's this whole like recycling thing. And that's just the worst because they don't actually like give you anything of value. And they're like, "Hey, why don't you just spend it again with us and you'll be good. You'll be happier." And it's just a way for them to get continuous revenue.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Always Sunny episode where they try to make their own money. So they try to make a self-sustaining economy, but basically they try
Oh,
to
okay.
follow the Dave and Buster's method, where you have to buy the card and then you have to put your money on the card, and then you can use the money only there, and that way the money's trapped there. And it's the same idea, and it's just it's a funny episode. If you have a minute, go watch that one. But it's the same concept, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the article, it
It's a
basically just
scam. It's a
yeah
scam. That's what
the
it
art
is.
the article just basically talks about the sort of unsustainable growth and aspirations of behind all the acquisitions, and then the LVMH acquisition of Hodinkee, and how just everything sort of got pushed into hyper marketing, and
Yeah.
it's just very much like a big storefront now. You know what I mean? And even in the collaboration, which we'll talk about later with Kith, is everything seems like it's very just planned out, right? Like they had
It's
Ronnie
yeah.
Fieg on earlier. I think that's how you say his name. And then a week later, they have a collaboration drop with him, like as if that didn't take a
Yeah,
while to.
just like it happened organically, right? No, I mean, and we've been saying this for months and months and months, and any of our avid listeners will know exactly what we're talking about because we've discussed this at length so many times. I mean, We talked about this on different lives and on different podcasts and things like that, where, I think I even mentioned is like we could exist in a time where Houdinki doesn't exist anymore. And I don't think we'll ever really get to that point, but I think a lot of the tonality and the tenor of what Houdinki was shifted after the LVMH acquisition because everything became corporatized. And as you mentioned, it was all about marketing, it's all about brand messaging, it's all about image or the perception of the image, right? And that is what has been, I think, different. That's why I think a lot of the original guys that were kind of the stalwarts for Houdinki are they're gone and they left pretty quickly, just up and gone, and went on
Right.
to other things because I think they realized that the purity aspect of what they started was no longer going to exist, and that's what happens when the corporate machine really gets its teeth into things. So interesting.
Yeah. So just an interesting little tidbit of something that popped up in a popular publication that sort of wasn't for the watch folks, but definitely caught the attention of us, if you will.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And also in our time, a lot of new things have dropped. I got to say, a ton of things that I was kind of just ho hum on. Some cool stuff, and we got a little blend of it here tonight. Um, a watch that I'm pretty enthused about because when I was at Wind Up, I got to play with the old ones, which are really, really cool. But Nevada, who loves to bring back their old stuff, even though it's not necessarily maybe their old stuff, but the old designs of the brand itself.
Yes.
They have the F77 now with a stone dial collection. I'm a huge stone dial fan. Usually, you can only get stone dials in really expensive watches, so I thought this was cool. It's sort of the benefit of the micro brand, like our bro Akbar. He does a lot of like aventurine and stuff at a pretty affordable
Yeah.
price point,
Yeah.
which is nice. It's nice to see that stuff. And then here you're getting similar. They have lapis, they have meteorite, they have anthracite, they have what's the other one? Aventurine.
Yeah.
Um,
Aventurine is coming. Yeah.
yeah.
Aventurine is coming.
And so I think two of them are available now, and then two of them will be available later. They're all sort of mixed price points from what I've seen. I think the pre orders on the Lapis and Anthracite, nope, sorry, Lapis and no, Aventurine are 1390. The Anthracite is 1490, and I think the Meteorite is 1690. But that's also because the Lapis and the Aventurine are in stainless, and the Anthracite and the Meteorite are in grade 5 titanium.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there's a little wrinkle. That what that also is. I guess that's probably planned about how the metal interacts with the dial visually, because obviously, I like titanium. I'm a big fan
Hmm.
of it, especially after owning a few titanium watches. Between feeling the weight difference between the titanium Pelagos and the good old Black Bay 41, I was a
Yeah.
little surprised at how much heavier it was.
It's
And then
significant. It's significant, man. I
and
mean,
then
it's
even just having the titanium Grand Seiko, it's so light. I'm just such a fan of titanium, even though maybe you don't always get the luster, especially after it's sort of aged a little bit, and you get a little bit of
yeah. I
that.
mean, but
You can definitely rub it up, and it's shiny again. I'm not saying it's like, oh my god. And I've heard people say you could take an eraser, or like one of those big old fashioned erasers that are not
yeah,
attached
like
to the
the
pencil, and like
yeah.
it'll help you like refinish your case or something. But I never tried it. I just
Interesting.
seen that.
I've literally never heard that, but I also would imagine it has to do with what titanium grade you have.
Yeah, I could see
Because
that. I could see
I
that.
mean there's two predominant ones in the industry. You got grade 2 and grade 5. Anything grade 5 can be high finished or it could be high polished.
Right.
So a lot of people will use that for aesthetic titanium. It has a little bit more similar color properties to steel without being stainless steel. But grade 2 titanium is more like pure titanium, how it's kind of like mined out of the earth from ore. And because it's more pure, it's more of that gunmetal dark titanium. It's not an alloy per se,
So
or
is that
not.
more
It's
rugged?
it's not necessarily this more rugged. It's just has a different aesthetic, right? So it's going to be more of a like matte finish because you really can't polish it. So technically, is it more scratch resistant than grade 5? Arguably, yes, but it's still a metal. It's still going to scratch.
Mm-hmm.
It might be slightly harder on the like the Rockwell hardness or the Mohs hardness scale, but it's not going to be like, oh, this is an invincible titanium. It can never be scratched. Like it, that's not the case. You will scratch titanium very easily. I mean, I have grade 5 and it's on my Pro Prof and I just wear it. My glass is beat to hell. That's just what it is. It's titanium's metal. Metal's gonna scratch. So, but the benefit to grade 5 is it's easier to work with to achieve better aesthetic finishing. That's kind of the idea. So the fact that they're able to do this in grade 5 to match that aesthetic in a watch at $1,500,
Not too shabby.
$1,600 on the higher end is pretty freaking remarkable. And it's just a good looking watch.
Yeah, I mean,
I
for
mean,
those of
you
you
saw
who
them, right?
yeah, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it gives you very much the 1970s gentle look, right? Everybody would compare it to sort of the Royal Oak. It's got the octagonal look. It's got the screws in the case, which, by the way, I do have to say, I'm grateful that if you look at the screws, at least in the product photos, they're all sort of
They're aligned how they should be, right?
yes, they are aligned properly, which
They're not a Hublot bezel where they're all
I'm grateful that they took the time to do it that way. Whether
yeah.
they're and look,
Oh,
I don't
look,
even
it's
know
a
if they're
Cartier Santos. All the screws are wonky.
I don't even know if they're real screws. I don't care. I'm glad it looks this way.
Yeah, me too. I mean, me too, man. It's like it's the little things, you know? It's the little things.
It is, but you get this cool integrated sports look. It's 100 meter. It's 37 millimeters. It's 12.6 thick, so it's really a nice little package. It's got a soap rod movement, which is sort of all the rage now that Eddas are less popular, and now
Not
that
less popular, just harder to get.
that's what I mean, less
Yeah.
prevalent
Yes.
within
Yes.
watches as a whole, I would say. But yeah, it's a nice package. I like a lot of the stuff that comes out of Nevada. I like their sort of vintage look and their homage to what the brand that it used to be, which is cool.
And pretty faithful at that. I mean,
Yeah, which is
that's one of the
good.
things you and I are like we really like about
Yeah, if
them.
you're
It's
gonna
like
do it right.
you just I mean like yeah, who needs a 37 millimeter case? We do. It's like full send on the 37s. Like we're going Def Master 35, 37. Let's go. Make it nice.
Did you see they just put out a bronze depth master? I
Oh,
think it
it's
was.
gone. It's
Yeah,
gone. She
that was
gone.
sweet. That was a sweet little package.
It looked good. I mean, and the bronze alloy that they used, I don't know which one it was specifically, but it had more of like a gold tone to it. And I was
Yeah,
like, ooh, looks kind of sweet. There was also like a olive drab, like Def Master with a like green dial, green bezel, and apparently that one's gone too. So they're selling them out fast.
yeah. They put out a bunch of cool ones lately. You know, we had that orange one. I liked a
Yeah.
lot with sort of the cream markers. Yeah, but they do cool stuff. They put out limited runs of things. So it's one of those brands that if you could snag one when you really like something, I think that's the time to do it. Maybe you wait for something that really strikes you, but they put out some winners, and I think they're definitely worth a look. I really enjoy their stuff.
Yeah, and their price points are so fair. I mean, it's kind of insane how fair their price points really are. It's nice. It's refreshing, is what I should say.
Yeah, well,
Nirvana, if
hopefully,
you're ever listening, I know you got some pink dolls in your collection. We will happily take one for charity.
true that. All right, I guess we'll stick with since we're already on stone dials. I've seen this new watch out. I don't have a feeling towards where it came from or what it is, but essentially it's by whatever this brand is. It's called Toledo and Chan, and again, this is the same concept as the what I was just talking about with the guy from Kith. This dude was on Talking Watches. He's a Toledano. Sorry, he is an artist, designer, whatever, and they took a window off of one of the famous Met buildings in New York City, and they designed a watch after it. And now this watch, if you've seen it, it's capturing all of the sort of teeny tiny King Midas Rihanna vibes going on right now, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
sort of the Cartier vibes, the Piagets, all of it, and they're going to re-release it in something that's a little more affordable than that stuff. You know, it's not a Cartier Crash or anything. It's a $4,000 watch still. It's got a lapis dial, and it's it's a square case. It's got an integrated bracelet. It's definitely. I mean, it's interesting. It's
Look,
very angular.
I'll say this. I'll say this. I don't hate it because I think it's actually an inspired design. Obviously, you can make the connection that it does have some King Midasy vibes to it. I
Yep.
mean, that was the first thing that I saw when I saw it. And at first, when it was posted, because I didn't watch the Talking Watches episode, I haven't really watched many of them in recent memory, just because none of these people interest me. But that's neither here nor there. When I saw this and I saw kind of the breakdown, like, oh, it's not a King Midas, it's something different. Let me look further. I can understand that, there's some geometric complexity with the design of the case and the bracelet and making kind of this crystal almost angular,
Yeah.
which it is, which from understanding about how sapphire crystals are created, that's not an easy
Had to be
process to
tough.
do. And it's going to be extremely expensive to manufacture that one singular crystal. It's not something that's going to be unique or easy to manufacture, like just some flat, thin crystal. Like this has a geometric plane. It has an angular surface to it. It's not inconsequential. Okay. That said, it's hard for these watches to resonate for me because everything is manufactured about the marketing behind it, right? Like you said, guys on Talking Watches, all of a sudden, boom, all automatically he comes out with a watch. Like, really? Really? That just happens? No, it's this is something that's been working and developing and in conversations for months and months and months, if not years. Okay. And let's be honest, the King Midas did not become popular until the end of 23 going into 24.
True.
Like nobody cared about it. So at that point, let's say last year is when this conversation may have began. I mean, it's hard to say that this is just organic, and that's I think the biggest issue with what we're kind of going to be leading into with the Kith collaboration as well with Tag is that it just doesn't feel genuine anymore. It's like all made up, and it always has been, but now you really feel it. I think. And we'll save some more on that. But I mean, overall, aesthetically, the design of the timepiece I like quite a bit. $4,000 for
Solita
you said
SW
it.
100.
I mean, I get that, but you're not really paying for the watch movement. You're paying for the design,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it is. I mean, it's a lapis style. It's an edgy design. I mean, and let's be honest. This guy literally could make one watch. And he's already sold out of all of them on Houdinki's website because I think it was exclusively sold through Houdinki's website. They're all gone. So people bought them, and I think that they bought them knowing that this is probably going to be either the start of a very prolific watchmaker or the one and done. And maybe this will be one of those watches that's super collectible in 20 years. Who
Yep.
knows? I
And
mean,
that's tough because just like the steel sports watch before this, you know that the window is not forever on popularity of design,
yeah, 100%.
right? Like we knew that was going to rotate out, and we said it's only a matter of time before the steel sports watch cools off a little bit, and it has some. And we always said, precious metals will come back, and they have some.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I mean,
you're getting this
let,
is
let,
very much a calculated. I mean, look, you got a 33.5 millimeter case.
yeah, and it's going to wear larger than that for
Yeah,
sure
because it's
because, I mean,
angled and it's
yeah.
got a funny shape to it.
But I mean, think of it this way. Think of it this way. Nobody cared at all about the King Midas at all for the last, what, 40 years
Yep.
up until 23. Nobody cared.
Even though Christopher Lee wore one in a Bond
Yeah,
film, which was awesome.
it was a joke of a timepiece. And any dealer would have said the exact same thing in 22. Any legitimate watch dealer would have said the exact same thing in 22, but because somebody talked about it on social media, it went viral. Everyone started covering it, and all these collectors started buying up King Midas's because of the ornate box that wasn't really a Rolex box. It came in like a you know Roman thing, like a planter or like a drinking gourd or whatever it is. It's just like so weird, but that's also what made it cool. But it took how many years for that watch to be prevalent again? a long time. So if this watch does have any hope of being something that's somewhat collectible in the future, I mean, this trend that we're in right now, I think we're on the back end of it.
Yeah.
The integrated steel sports watch is moving on, and I think the trend, and this is strictly my opinion right now, it's just kind of what I've been noticing, and I'm going to call it right now. This is my take. I think we're headed back to the very boring design phase. We're going to lose the color. We're going to go back to blues and blacks and grays, and that's going to be kind of where we're going to be for a little bit.
So if that happens, we're going to need something else to sort of keep things moving, right? We're going to need some innovation. We're going to need
It's going to
something,
either
some
be
fresh
movement design or
designs.
complications or something like that. But I feel like the punchy colors that we saw kind of in that 70s vibe, they really manifested in themselves in the pink dials and the teal dials and all these crazy
So
things.
we're going to
I
go 70s to 80s is what you're saying.
Yeah, where everything's going to be
Two
PVD and
tone? Is that
like
what we're going to go back to
two
two tone?
tone. Yeah, it's going to get back to very boring designs. That I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that. I just think that the big brands and maybe we won't see this on the independent sphere,
Yeah.
but I feel like the big brands are probably going to start making a calculated move and say, okay, we had our fun in the sun. The color trend is over. Let's get back to normal regular business because as things turn either economically or socioeconomically, whatever it might be, people's buying tastes become inherently more conservative. So you're going to give people the stuff that is going to be more applicable to the masses, which is going to be your very vanilla style stuff. That's my opinion. Do I have any facts to back that up? Not a single ounce. It's just what I've been seeing in trend and what I'm seeing in algorithms and being posted and featured. We're starting to see kind of a switch, I think. So I could be wrong in 6 months, but we'll take a look then.
Yeah, we'll revisit. A couple of interesting things about this one. There is nothing on the dial.
Nothing.
Not a branding, not a 12 o'clock, not a logo.
And you got to kind of respect that though. That's a bold move.
Well, it does give you sort of the homage back to the Rolex stone dials where they only had maybe one marker, or very minimal at best.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I do like about it is because of the way that the case shape is designed, it's sort of elevated out and it protrudes out towards you on the right side. So if you tilt your wrist, it's actually pointing right at you, which
Hmm.
makes looking at it a bit easier.
It's like
Now,
a driver's watch almost.
yeah, now the thing that counteracts that, again, it has nothing on the dial. So telling the time is a little bit more of a pain in the ass.
But arguably the people who are going to buy this watch are not
Don't
buying it to
give
be
a
able to tell
damn.
the time. Yeah. How many Cartier crashes that are on people's wrists are actually wound?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like as much as that kills us as watch people who love watches for the sake of giving time, most people don't, you know, I shouldn't say, I said most people outside of the watch industry, if you're not truly a watch collector, but you're a fashion collector, you know that having a watch is part of your fashion wardrobe, right? The people who are going to buy this are solely focused on the fashion statement that it makes and less about the importance of the timekeeping. So for someone like you and me, it makes zero sense in terms of resonant practicality. Like this watch does not at all influence my life any way or another, other than it's a cool, unique design. But to somebody that's more in the fashion world of things, this is a watch that's like, yeah, this is a cool, punchy statement. It's all angular, looks like knife blades. It's very funky and weird. And by the way, I don't really care if it's running. It's just the statement. So it's an artistic thing. It's not a functional nor practical thing.
Right.
And that's always the hard delineation for me and timepieces in general. It's like, can I spend 40, $50,000 and buy this hierology piece that's amazing and well designed and a lot of handwork and artisanal craftsmanship goes into it? Yes. Is it a better, more accurate timekeeper than something that's $5,000? The answer arguably could be no.
Yeah, that's the
It's
deal.
true.
Once
It's
you get
just
into the
100%
artistic end
true.
of things, that's where you get.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're looking for the balance between practicality and function and usability and price. And some watches have it, some watches they don't care about that. The guy who's buying a Longo one doesn't really care that it's going to be the most accurate watch in the world. It's just the fact that it's a Longo one and it's hand built and it's like it's a hard thing to get. You know, it's more about that than it is about, oh yeah, if I stick a magnet to this watch, it's going to run, or oh yeah, I can wear this golfing. Not a thing that they consider.
Yep.
So anyway, we'll see how it does. I mean, it's already done well because it's sold out. So somebody got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
All right.
Toledano.
And
Is it Toledano and Chan or
yeah,
yeah? Okay. Interesting name.
thought so myself.
What are you gonna do?
And it's the B1 is the name of the
The
watch.
B1. Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Lapis style's nice.
Do you like Lapis? All right. Up next, Zodiac put out a collab with Red Bar for a reinterpretation of a classic Zodiac diver of theirs,
Mm-hmm.
known as the Red Dot. If you've ever seen the old one, it looked a lot like some of the older tag divers.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you've ever seen them, it's got that very like 70s, 80s divers look to them. Um, the old ones are really cool. I actually like the old one a little bit better. I mean, the new one, it's
Yeah.
definitely an
Me too.
interpretation. It's not a one for one. It's not, they didn't
Yeah.
even necessarily even copy the entire dial layout or anything. They've sort of just taken that and worked it into the newer, beefier Seawolves. The old one I like a lot. I think it's a cool little compact design. It almost gives sort of the Formula One look a bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that
It's that classic, like you said, it's that Hoyer's diver from the 80s.
right.
And it was the Hoyer 1000 professional is
Yeah, I love
specifically the
that one.
model. But the reason why they look so similar is because back then Hoyer and Zodiac were sourcing their cases from the same case
Oh,
manufacturer.
that's a juicy tidbit.
Yeah. So that's why the cases have very similar properties to them and why they had overall similarities is because of that lesser known thing. But um regardless, I don't hate the watch. I like it. I think it's cool.
No, I think it's neat.
I love the tie-in with the subtle red dot, which is as you mentioned was characteristic of many Zodiac pieces from the 80s, from the 90s. I love, as you know, the full loom dial. I still have
Yep.
yet to add a full loom dial to my collection. It's just I already know that what my biggest beef with this watch is. I've talked about it many times with this specific line of Zodiacs. I'm wondering if you
Hmm.
remember.
I'm trying to think. It's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute.
Surveying. I don't know. What is it?
It's the counterweight for the second hand.
Oh yeah, well that's like any watch now. I thought it was just Zodiacs. That's
No, no, no.
any watch now. I look at the counterweight. I'm like, Ashman's gonna hate that.
Well, it's just it's this one for me. I love the overall design concept of these like beefier, more professional rated Seawolves, but I'm not in love with the hands, but I can overlook the hands. It's just the duplicitous Zodiac logo. Like we already have it on the 12 o'clock position.
Hmm.
Do I need it floating around the dial? No, I don't. And then we get it a third time because I'm sorry, a fourth time because it's on the crown and on the case back.
Yep.
So I'm just like, guys, get rid of the Invicta style counterweight for the second hand and just make it a circle or just get rid of that design altogether.
It
You
would have
already
been
have it there.
cool. It would have been cool to do the old lollipop hand on this one.
Yeah. Or what if they had made the second hand the actual red dot and that's what floated around the dot?
Oh,
Like
that could
that
have
would have
been
been
cool. That
that
could have
would have
been
been
cool.
sick. You know what I mean? Like, you could have had the marketing photos have the second hand set to, 22 seconds, and that would have been like the homage at 4:30, and then you have the it just continuously sweeping, almost like the Zodiac, was it the Astrons or whatever?
Yeah, that has the floating disc. Yeah.
The floating discs, right? And they had a little red dot that moved around. That was like that would have been kind of funky and cool. I mean, obviously many things you could do here, but overall, I like the watch. I think it's a subtle tie-in to Red Bar. Nice that they also have the continuation of the red dot for the Red Bar on the back. Like the watch. I think it's a solid piece. I think many Red Bar people will probably snag one. Price point's fair too, so it's a Zodiac, so you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah, and I think I like that they upgraded these models to 7 link.
Yeah,
The old bracelets, they were just a little like stiffer on the older
yeah,
Seawolves. And obviously having a chronometer spec is nice. Having a 300-meter capability is nice. So, like you said, you're getting a little more professionalism out of it, and it's neat. It's a little more just beefy and rugged, and a little more true to like what I guess the heritage you're playing on is.
yeah,
Considering
for
this
sure.
was a professional model at the time.
Yeah,
So, and while we're on the topic, I also thought this was kind of funny. You mentioned 430 dates, and we all know how it's like a big running gag in the industry.
yeah.
Well, I thought, I mean, how coincidental and how appropriate that somebody who trolls this industry so hard. Do you know what my kid's birthday was?
Was it 4:30?
It was 430.
Oh my God.
I was just like, this is appropriate.
Yeah, this is appropriate.
And that
My
wasn't
kids,
planned. That
my
actually got moved. I was like, oh, all right, well, we're doing this now, so that's fun. It got moved within the last week. It was originally supposed to
oh
be the
man.
May 3rd, and it got moved to 430. And I go, okay, kid with a 430 date. That's cute.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So
The joke couldn't have written itself better.
no, it couldn't have. And I was like, okay, appropriate. I like it. We'll go
I'm
with
here
it.
for it. I'm here for it.
Also, Timex, a lot of collaborations lately, huh? That's
Yeah,
been a thing.
we said it was gonna be the collab year. We
Collab
talked about
season.
that.
Collab season. Yeah, so Timex came out with a watch with the James brand. The James brand is an EDC brand. For those of
Hmm.
you who are not familiar with EDC, it's basically the crap you carry in your pockets.
Yeah.
Flashlights, multi-tools, knives.
Do
Any
you actually carry those things in your pockets? Because I don't. I really don't. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, due to my profession, I often carry like like a straight razor, like a box cutter.
That I get.
So I have
That
something
I
like
get.
that in my pocket. I used to do the pocket knife, but I found the razor a little easier, a little more functional.
Yeah.
Um, I don't necessarily carry a flashlight or anything like that on me, but for the folks that like to be forever prepared, that is what EDC is all about.
Yeah. And for
Everyday carry for those of you
yes,
who
I
are
was gonna say,
unfamiliar.
and for those who don't know, it's everyday carry. Yeah,
Everyday
exactly.
carry. So you'll see there are entire accounts dedicated to this. Like
Oh, it
it's
is.
a
It
it's a
is a
movement. It's
huge
it's
thing.
not like some dude on the internet decided this was a cute thing. It's a big thing, and there's a lot of people who are devoted to it.
Oh my God. They are, and you think watch people are bad? They're like, oh, you don't have this particular type of steel for your knife, and it's just like, what are you, a poor? I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, oh my God, man, you guys are toxic. You're just as bad, if not worse than we are.
You should see the chef's knife people. Same way.
Oh well, that's a whole nother.
Meanwhile, they all do the same crap. But either way.
Yeah. There's
So they
always
came out
haves
with
and have nots, right? So what are you gonna do?
yes. So they collaborated to come out with something that's sort of not very Timex. I mean, this is very
No,
off the
it's
beaten
not.
path. It's almost like Timex. If Timex made a Tudor North flag, it would look like this. Right, so it's a GMT. It's got a big 24-hour bezel around the outside. It's got neon
It's
accents.
it's highlighter green. It's like
Yes,
highlighter yellow, highlighter green accents for the crown, for the GMT hand,
it's a
for the 12 o'clock marker.
41 millimeter barrel shaped case. It's got a true GMT movement, from what I
Yep,
understand,
yep. It's a Miota.
which is reflected in the price. I mean, this is expensive for a Timex. I think it comes in around $800, 750. But you're getting it on a bracelet. You get this collaboration piece, something that's very not Timexy, but it's got a pretty good amount of specs. I mean, 11.5 is pretty decent for a watch sort of made within these parameters. I think it's automatic.
Yep.
You're getting it's titanium. It's something a little bit higher end than the typical Timex you think of when you're buying a $199 watch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is to me, this is the it's like that
The Gali,
yes,
yeah,
thank you. You knew exactly where I was
yep, I
going
knew
with
where you're
that.
going.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Timex 2.0. I mean, this is the Timex for watch collectors. We have the Timex that we've enjoyed as watch collectors, our M79s and our oh gosh, what is that watch?
The Q,
Uh you know which one I'm talking about. The one that brought Timex back.
the Marlin,
Q. The Q.
oh
The Q and the Marlin series, like
yeah,
those, like that is kind of like, hey, that was appealing to watch collectors, but also it was like appealing to like everyday people. They were
yep,
just like, this is cool. This seems fun and chic and hip and exciting. Why not? I buy one. It's cheap. Um, but the Golly collection, this kind of collaboration collection, which is, they've done this a few times now,
yep.
but never to this extent that I've seen. And I like the design. I think it's a little bit more modern-esque, a little bit more futuristic of a design,
It is, yeah.
but I don't hate it. I think it's cool. It doesn't look like a GMT out there on the market. I like that it's pretty monochromatic with the exception of the pop of color. And it just looks nice. Like, I mean, if I was planning on giving this to somebody, I think that they would really enjoy the watch.
Like I could see somebody who maybe isn't a watch collector but owns like a Cybertruck wearing this. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe I get from
Totally,
this.
totally. Like this is like the Silicon Valley like adventure sport watch, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's funny. But yeah,
That's
neat
that's
watch.
that's awesome. The Cybertruck, yeah,
Right?
like
I
that.
feel like that's what I look. I look
Totally,
at this. I'm like
totally.
Cybertruck, and it might just be this kind of. I guess this must be like the James brand branding down here. I don't know what this is at the 6 o'clock, but
Yeah, that's their logo.
it's. I don't know what it is, but it looks kind of like a rocket. It got me thinking Tesla, so I was like, yeah, you know what? Why not?
I think it's like knife blades
Oh, it
like put
could be.
together
It really, to
because
be honest, looks like some sort of a microorganism, but I have no idea.
the reason why I think that again, I don't not too familiar with the James brand. So if somebody is familiar with that, please correct us in the comments. But the reason why I said that is because I think their logo is stay sharp. Like that's kind of like their
Okay,
tagline. So like everything's like knives and
that
like
fits.
blades and that kind of stuff. So it's at least from what I gathered in preparation for this podcast.
Nice.
Like, oh, stay sharp. Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah. All right. And they're also, while we're on Timex, we've seen them do a tonneau in recent memory where it was more of the uh, 963 layout on the chronograph. That now we're getting one with a 1296 layout of these
Yes.
tonneau chronographs. These are a little more from the colors. I mean, the old ones, like they gave you like a gold and a white dial.
Yep.
These ones are a little more like race inspired. Like you have a black, you have a panda, I believe it is. I can't tell if it's silver or white. A lot of these product photos on watches nowadays, you can sometimes they look like they're white and they're silver, but they're very race inspired. They look neat. If you're a fan of like the older Omegas that look like this, I think this is a cool watch to pick up because you're not going to find this in a watch that's necessarily cheap very often.
No.
So this will sort of fill that void for you, if you will. They look good. I think they're actually pretty decently sized too for what I know they're a quartz watch, but 11 millimeters, whereas the other ones, the Omegas that I like in this variation are like 15, something like that. So these are a little more wrist friendly.
Yeah, and
You know,
the
you
case dimensions are pretty accurate too at 42 mil. I think the Mark II, which is arguably what it's very much inspired
yeah,
by, was I think a 42 millimeter case, if I'm not
yep.
mistaken either.
So you get the look in more of a package that we were just talking about at the Timex.
Yeah.
You get it's a $219 watch, so you know exactly what you're getting. It's a quartz chronograph, but if you're into that, you get this kind of cool knurling on the crown, and the sides of the case have some what looks like etching on it. Um, it's a neat looking watch. I figure Nick will probably put out some straps for this thing that'll look really good. So
Well, and that was the one thing I was gonna talk about because we haven't seen this in person. I don't know if you look at the side profile of the case, it looks like there's like bolts like where a spring bar would go. So I don't know if they're decorative or if they're functional.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But somebody did put in the comments like changing the strap on this was next to impossible. Had I known that, I would have never bought the watch. So it could be somebody that knows nothing about watches and it's like this band sucks. I want to change it to something else, but thought that somehow that is not removable, or they don't know about watches and they're like, all you have to do is move the leather strap over from the other side of the case and pop the spring bar out.
Right. It might just be tight and
It just might be a tight tolerance. So
yeah.
I don't know. But somebody, I was going through the comments on this and it was like very positively reviewed up until that one is like, this strap sucks. I wanted to change it. I couldn't change it because of this proprietary design. So I'm assuming he was referring to those like bolt looking things. So if that is the case, that could be a challenge. If not, and somebody is just more user error, just know that we can't confirm that. I don't
True.
know.
True.
So, but if if our buddy Strap Habit is listening, as I know you do, make a strap for it. People might like it.
Yeah. Last up I got on the list. So Seiko's bringing back the 55 Fathoms. This watch had like a cult following way back when. It was a Seiko 5. It's called the 55 Fathoms is its nickname. The more it used to be the SNZH models. Now it's an SRPK 97 and 99. If you're familiar, probably the most popular one, it has like a gilt look to it. It's got the sword hands. This was like I said, it was like a cult following watch. I know.
Yes,
I think
yes,
Buzz
yes,
has
yes,
one.
yes, yes. I remember this now.
Yeah, it's a fun little like tribute watch. I mean,
And pretty faithful.
oh yeah, the new ones they're pretty much spot on. But it's cool that they brought this back, sort of in the more modern look, as opposed to the older
Dude,
fives.
I forgot about these, man.
Yeah, the older fives sort of had like a bit of a cheap moniker on them. These are sort of in the newer 5KX rendition.
Yeah, because the crown is because I think the older crown wasn't it at 3 o'clock
I think so. Yeah.
on the originals? So this one has the 4 o'clock crown, but it also has the crown guards, which I don't believe the other one had. Oh no, no, I was right. Yeah, so it was a non-crown
Yep.
guards at 3 o'clock. But man, that's crazy. It looks so different, but it looks the same. But yeah, I remember when people used to mod these and they used to put the Blanc Pawn style
Yep.
dials on it and they call them the 55 fathoms.
55
That was
fathoms.
way back in the day. Oh my gosh.
So that's cool. It's cool that they brought these back. They also brought back the what are they? I can't remember the off the top of my head, but they're like the little mini oyster perpetuals. They brought those back. I can't remember
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
the reference off the top of my head. It's been a hot minute.
It's
I actually
the
have one, but they're cool.
yeah, SRPK 97.
So that's these ones. I can't
Hmm.
remember. It's a four-letter combination. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But
Well, I'm looking at one right now. It's like it says SRPK 87, which is a blue dial, 4 o'clock date, or I'm sorry, 4 o'clock crown, day date. But we're talking like, 36 millimeter, 35 millimeter case. I wish I could just like flip my screen around because I
yeah,
know this is what you're talking about.
that might be the new ones. I'm trying to remember the old reference number because I'm a big fan of these and they're really
Because
good.
don't you have one in your
I
current
do. Like I
collection?
said, it's in the box behind me. I just can't get up because my headphones will pull me down like an idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
but
yeah,
that's that.
these are fun.
Yeah, this is the new one. It's got sort of like the hidden crown at four
Yeah,
o'clock,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they brought these back, which is cool. Like I said, it's like a fun little
See,
watch. It's
like
a fun
this
little
this is a
dressy
watch I
piece.
would just buy on a whim. Just be like,
Well,
why
the
not?
older
Yeah.
one was like it was like $180 or something. Well, it was like
It
a
was
no brainer.
$180 at the end of its life cycle. They used to be like
Yeah,
$50.
right,
Let's be
exactly. Yeah,
honest.
like the SNK. Remember those?
Yes, man. They were so, so, so dirt cheap. And now it's crazy when you go and Google them now. The prices are so insane. It's not even worth it.
Well, it's like the $700 SKX, and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe not.
Dude, I told you I saw one for as high as like 800, like almost $1,000. I was like,
That's
you guys you're insane. But, supply and demand. Seiko, please, please, please just give us a spiritual version. Like, but I want the loomed tip of the second hand, not on the counterweight, and I want a true screw down crown with 200 meters of water resistance. Please give us that, and you will be printing money, printing money, and allow people to mod it, and you'll be printing even more money. Just give the people what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is their way of just like edging us into it.
You never know. I mean, again, when sales are tight, that's what you got to do, right?
Yeah, you gotta give the people what they want.
That's it. That's it. Okay. So since we've been on the topic of collab season and we kind of worked our way down to this, I'm sure everybody has seen the Tag Heuer Kith collab. Um, I've known that the brand Kith has existed. I've never known what it is. I've just always assumed it's like another Supreme or something.
Yeah, yeah, upscale streetwear brand basically.
Now we have a local brand. Like for some reason, I was not even aware of this until I started paying attention. But there's one by us called Locals Only, and they do like collaborations with businesses, and they do the same thing. They just like they'll throw their branding and the other branding on like a sweatshirt or something and sell it or whatever. And I'm like, how do you make a collab brand business? Because this is genius. You put your branding on somebody else's product and sell it, and then you make
Yeah,
money. And that's it. Like you like it just makes no sense because at some point your brand carries no weight. And
yeah.
it's going on with somebody else and it's selling some like it doesn't compute mentally for me.
No,
But
I mean, I guess when you analyze it, and I've literally never analyzed it in that fashion, but what you said is 100% correct.
like I want to have no
Like
product and sell
Kit
things.
didn't make this watch. Kit didn't make this watch.
Right.
Some industrial designer that they had hired on their team was like, "Hey, I'm going to slightly modify this logo, and we're going to put it here, and then your design team is going to say yes or no, and then you're going to produce it." Right? That's kind of what you're saying, right?
That's the dough I'm trying to make. I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
that's
just
a
like,
great business model. No product.
yeah. You didn't spend the hard-earned money to industrialize it or build it or machine it or create the materials to make it. You're just like, this is where my logo goes now.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get
It's
that money.
interesting. I never thought of it in that way, but you're absolutely right.
It's
And
brilliant.
the thing is that's crazy for me about the collab space is when you look at this in complete antithesis to something like the Moon Swatch, right? That was really the most that was really in my opinion the most provocative collaboration within the watch space ever. And everything has paled in comparison to that launch, right?
Well, you have your classics. You have like Pan Am, things like that.
But still, that was never official.
Right.
Like there was a few, I think there was a few like Pan Am's logo versions, but like for like executives of like, a team of 5 people that Rolex made for them or something like that, or special colorways that was made specifically for those people. But they didn't have like the Pan Am Airways logo on the dial. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that way, but
I
it
mean,
was
Domino's Pizza.
understood.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay. Okay, you are correct. You are
I'm
correct.
totally kidding. I'm totally joking.
But interesting, right? Like, but when you think of like the Moonswatch, that made sense because they were both brands. They were operated by the same entity, right? So like obviously Swatch and Omega are
Well,
sister companies
you're
at
getting
different price points.
you're getting Omega's styling. You're getting Swatch's production.
Correct.
For me, that's an equal share. I mean,
That but
granted,
that but
a
that's
lot of
my
people would
point.
argue that you're buying on Omega's brand power, but at the same time, you're just buying a watch that is styled like that, like that.
And correct, but in doing so, you're appealing to both market
No, I agree.
segments, right?
I think you are.
But this is like you're right. Kith literally did nothing.
I
Kith
want
did
that.
nothing. I mean that's I mean if they're just gonna let anybody do their marketing, can we get a Rich Cheese Radio Formula One? I would love that.
Bro, black, pink,
I will give you the
neon blue.
Miami of all Miami
I mean,
influenced
that's perfect.
Rich Cheese
They have
Radio
F1s
watches.
in Miami. They have F1
Absolutely.
races in Miami.
Let's do it. I'll fly out there
Damn.
myself personally to unveil it.
But so anyway, you can get these in steel. You can get them in coated steel, with PVD, and the Moonswatch was sort of my comparison for this, and that was the sort of chuckle I had about it, was that people would on one hand call the Moonswatch overrated, even though you're paying basically nothing for, yeah, sure, it's plastic and it's got
But
Omega
still
styling,
fun. Still fun.
but you're paying 260 for that versus 1500 for this.
Yeah.
They honestly probably have similar movements, like
I mean, yeah,
as far as
let's be
quality and
honest here.
accuracy, you know what I mean, for what you're getting in a watch like this. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, like let's call a spade here. But
But look, I will say this. I will say this. I've always loved this generation of Formula One.
no, this is look, it's neat. I'm not saying the watch isn't cool. What I'm saying is that just the way that it was treated, the way it'll be received. I'm like, it's hard to put one down and not at least take the other into account and be like, okay, yeah, whatever. This is like a similar idea, and even though they're different price points, but like it's just a lot of people's criticisms were $1,500 for this is
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
steep.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially
but
because
it's
you can
in
get the old one used for significantly less.
yeah, for sure. But that's gonna change.
You would think.
I'm sure it's already changed now.
You would think.
I'm sure it's already changed now. I mean, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit. As soon as these kith ones came out, I was doing late night Google searches for the vintage ones because I knew they were going to start going up. I'm sure they are expensive right now. Let's see. Let's
And
do a
you know what?
live check.
This is another one though that you like I said, you could see coming down the pipe if you paid attention.
Oh, for sure.
Not only did multiple sort of blogger influencers put out watches articles about this watch and how, oh, it should come back. Oh, like this is, these tiny Formula Ones are like all the rage, whatever. Okay. Then, like I said, you have their CEO on Talking Watches, and then all of a sudden, bang, here it is. And you're just like, okay, I like it. I put out the Charlie Kelly from
Yeah,
Always Sunny
yeah,
with the
yeah. The
background with the
conspiracy
Pepe
theory board.
Sylvia, with the conspiracy theories, and I put the articles all up and stuff, and I was like, all right, here we go. There is no Pepe Sylvia,
Yeah,
but so
there's no coincidences anymore, and
right.
that's
But that's
and
what
I
we're talking
think
about, is nothing is organic anymore, and it kind of,
yeah,
but it resonates. You can kind of feel it in those regards.
and I think that's the most sobering fact of everything is because I think with how much information is prevalent in our space these days, just in life in general, like just to step away from watches for a moment, just in general, we're so much more connected than we ever have before. The ability for for normal people to pick up on the interconnectedness that's not quite as genuine as we would like it to be is far more prevalent. And I know you notice it. I notice it. I know that other collector friends of mine have noticed it. They're like, it just seems stagnant and stale. And it's because everything is 100% manufactured to get you to buy it. And again, we all know that. That's the whole reason why marketing exists. But it's so much more like uninspired than even you think, you know? Like had this Talking Watches episode not come out and then all of a sudden this came out, people would have been like, "Whoa, this is literally out of left field." And it would have been exciting, even more exciting than it was, I think. But you could have one of two outcomes. You could have everyone that jumped on board and then people were like, "Okay, who's Kith? Why is it
By the
on
way,
dial?"
everybody's welcome for the Mike Tyson thing. By the way,
Yeah.
all right, your boy posted the Mike Tyson thing, and then everybody's like, "Oh, let me run with this." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Enjoy."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not Kith.
Kith.
Not Kith. But I mean, it's just weird, man. It's just weird, and I wish it wasn't as manufactured as it is now.
But
But
that's the age we live in. It's
I know,
the
I know.
viral, the digital marketing, whatever you want to call it. I mean, even
It's
like
it's all advertisements, influencers, digital marketing, social media, socialites, like all these people that are just they're just doing it, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? It's a weird landscape. I'll say that much because even being on like this side of it, like I've been approached by a bunch of weird companies to represent their stuff, and I'm like, no, this is odd. I'm like, first of all, it's a weird marriage. Like, I'm not going to do that. But like, even I don't know if you saw like Derek Minute Mon. He like
Yeah.
some company, I guess it was like a company that makes gaming chairs and standing desks and stuff approached him, and then like they told him that like they weren't into Asian faces, which is a whole another weird thing. Dude, you can check it out. It was on his stories. I don't know if he still got it up, but like
What?
they backed out, and that was like their reasoning rather than just saying it might not work out. But I don't know. I was like, listen, it's probably a company based in a another country that wouldn't take that maybe as offensively as we would here. But either way, like I just thought off the top of my head, I was like weird marriage, like weird questionable company. I'm like it never works out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just want your reach and to hijack
Yeah.
your the
It's all
work
your
you've put
clout.
in
It's all your
for their own
clout. Yeah.
gain. You know what I mean?
It's by definition a parasitic relationship because they're
Right.
leeching off of you
Right.
literally.
And the only way they want to pay you out is if they make bank.
Correct.
There's no like, oh, let us use your branding. Here's a bunch of money. It's, oh, well, we can collaborate and we can use your reach. And then when we make money, you'll make money. I'm like, no, see, that's not how I'm trying to work this. Like, if you're gonna try to, if I'm gonna put my ass on the line, I want to get some pay up front.
Daddy needs that check up front and he needs to
Yeah.
clear before we start
Right.
talking.
Yeah. It's got to hit the account. There is no, it'll be in the mail. There,
There's no Amex chargebacks, all right?
that's what I'm saying. Nobody approaches LeBron and is like, LeBron, we'll pay you when we make money.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. You're right. You're
But
right. And
that's the age we live in,
yeah,
and
everything's a
even worse, like
parasitic
if you
toxic relationship.
even worse, if you've ever communicated with any of these companies, like it is atrocious trying to even just like get respect, which turns you off completely in from
Well,
from the get go.
I think it's from I think for most collaborators, or I should say for most content creators, I think these brands rely on the fact that like, hey, you should be grateful
Yeah,
that we're
of course.
giving you this opportunity to do this collaboration with us. And in reality, it's the brand should be, hey, we're grateful that you, as the content creator, would accept doing this collaboration with us because of your hard work and your reach and all the things that you've done. Like, we would feel amazing if we could work together with you because of what you've done. Not like, hey, this is my offer. We're going to parasitically use your reach and your momentum because you are good at what you do to get our brand messaging out there. I mean, you remember when we kind of first started this and we had talks with different brands about they're like, yeah, we want you guys to promote our stuff. I'm like, well, we don't really promote people. And
Yeah, well, it's like, look, we can work together on a mutual ground of people know you, people know us. Let's do something. Okay,
and it's got to make sense.
right. It's got to click. It's got to look like it's something that could be something that we work together on and put together and want to put this out there, as opposed to like, hey, here's an idea, just slap it all over your page and let's do,
Yeah.
we'll use the air quotes,
Please
collaborate.
sell our watches through your postings and your page. And for anybody that buys one from your affiliate link, you'll
You
get a
will get
kickback.
25 cents.
Like, I'm like, what? Cool. No.
Right. And then that's the scam also because it's like, well, how do I keep track of what got sold? It's like you don't.
Yeah,
Well, how do I know you're being honest with me and paying me out for what got sold?
you
You
don't.
don't.
Oh,
Okay, then.
got it. So it's not like Amazon. Got
But
it.
again, if you have two entities that are excited to work together, that's a different story. If a kick-ass watch brand came to me and was like, hey, we want to do something and we'll make a limited edition or something, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Even like the dude who made the straps for me that were promotional, like that was neat. Like that was a fun little thing. He's like, I make straps, we customize them, we can work a logo onto it and you can give them away. It'll be fun. It was like there wasn't really any big profiteering or anything off that. It was just like a neat little thing we could work together on.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that you want for me to that you would focus on.
And it's respectful because it's truly a collaboration.
Right. It's a mutual thing
It's a
as
mutual
opposed
thing.
to we take your goods and we use them, or we take your reach and we use them, and here you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's just the space we're in right now, and that's sort of what you're getting at face value in a lot of these cases. But it is
Although
what it
I will say, Tag did get the Dario, so you gotta like that.
Oh no, yeah, they're no, they are crushing it in their
And they're
um
ambassador space,
ambassador
bro.
game. They are killing it. They have like nothing but gorgeous women and guys.
But I was walking by my or I shouldn't say my, but a local Tag Heuer boutique in one of the cities I was visiting for work, and she was there on the window, and I was just
Oh,
like,
I thought you meant she was there. I was like, bro, I wouldn't have left.
no, she was on the window, but she's just as beautiful on the
Yeah, she's bad.
picture as
She's
she
bad.
is probably in real life. And the eyes, man, they just stop you from
Yeah,
literally
that's what
across
it
the
is.
room.
It was
And
funny.
I'm like,
My wife was watching that White Lotus show, and I like I wasn't paying attention at all, but she was in it. And I was like, oh yeah, we can watch this.
all the guys that are listening to this right now, like, yep,
They're like,
yep,
yeah, me
yes,
too.
we
It was
agree,
like
yes.
her and Sydney Sweeney were both in it. I was like, yeah, we can watch this. It's all right. It's
It's like I have four good reasons why we need to be watching this show right. Yes.
But yeah, that was but that again, like I said, when you have ambassadors are kind of a different animal, but Tag is crushing it in the ambassador space. I'll give
Yeah,
him
they
that.
are. You have to give them credit where credit is due because it's look and just the disruptive marketing strategy that they do is you can't hate it. You can't hate it. We're still talking about Kith. What 3 weeks on? I mean, it's 2 3 weeks on at least, and we're talking about it. It's
It was
obviously
funny.
relevant enough.
I was in the mall the other day and I saw a sweatshirt and had Kith on it. It was the first one I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, now
Maybe
everyone's
it's
gonna be
because I'm now
stocking it.
paying attention, but it's the first
No,
one I've ever seen.
yeah, I don't think it's because I'm paying attention. I mean, this is a New York City streetwear brand. Like, it's a very very niche type of people that buy that kind of stuff and frequent that stuff. And it's your celebrities. It's your high profile people. Your 1% people that are into fashion that will buy this. Your LeBron James, your Pharrells, like those dudes
Mm,
that are known for that type of swag and that type of fashion, that kind of streetwear culture that became ultra lucrative. But the rest of us are like, this this doesn't resonate with me.
yeah.
You know, I can respect it. I can respect it because I think it's cool. And it's only a matter of time before you have somebody that's truly like a watch collector fashion icon. It's going to be rocking one of these somewhere, and it's coming. I guarantee it, and it's going to go viral. Because right now you have all these watch influencers that are split. Some of them love it. Some of them are like, "This is garbage." I'm like, "Hey, man, you're talking about it. You're making clicks and money from it. So
Mm.
what are you going to do?" We'll see. I mean, I would just enjoy getting my hands on an old one. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Or it would be cool if they like, let's say they only produce that stainless one with just the tag on it now without the Kith.
Yeah.
I think that would still sell like hotcakes and it would
Oh,
still
dude,
be cool.
I
Like
would buy one.
they should
I would
still do
legit
that.
buy one.
They
I
should
would
still
legit buy one
yeah, they should do that.
because this would inspire an entirely new generation of people to want to own a tag.
Yeah, I think so. And
Because
especially with the prevalence now of Formula One, why not?
yeah, I mean, if they really wanted to just make it bananas and they did a production model, they should make one loosely inspired by the corporate colors of each F1 team.
That would be sick, right? You can make a Senna model because he's like a an OG
Yeah,
RIP.
you make an Omar, and he was an ambassador at
Right,
one point too, right?
right.
So you could do a Senna, you could do, a loosely Patronus because, they're not with anybody right now.
No, but it'd be
Um,
cool. Yeah, and if you took maybe some of the big faces, your Lewis and people like that, like maybe
n-
if they weren't, because obviously Lewis has his own things, but you could loosely tailor a watch that might visually say Lewis without putting his name on it.
well, I mean, like again, it would be just the team, right? Like you would do
like
a
Ferrari and
you
yeah,
do a red, yellow, and white, or red, yellow, and white one for Ferrari. You do a black and orange for McLaren. You do, you know, a red, yellow, and blue one for Red Bull. Whatever the team is, you would just make a inspired Formula One, a new version based off of the current colors of F1 teams.
See, now
And I think that would be
this is how
sick.
collaboration works, my friend.
I think that would be sick. I think
I think they should
that
do
would be
this.
cool. And if you made them normal production and you kept these Kith ones as the 250 limited edition, that's all that'll ever be produced, and that's it. Move on.
Right, let that
Do a
stay as
small
that.
production of these as like true Formula One inspired pieces. I think you could continue to sell them.
Yeah, I think that would be badass.
So why not?
Yeah, I'm here for that. I would like that.
I mean, I don't even like Formula One. I think that would be a cool idea.
Yeah, I'm not a big Formula One fan either. People always try to like loop me into that conversation. I'm like, listen, I don't know anything about
I
sport. I
I,
know a
I
little bit
literally
about.
know zero.
I know some of the featured people.
It's like I know there's
Your
a
Max
Max
Verstappen's and
Verstappen.
stuff. Yeah, I know them, and like
Only because he's affiliated with Tag.
so that's like the extent of it. And our
Yeah.
buddies are always talking about it in our group chat. But aside from that, I don't really know anything about it. Um,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I know nothing about Formula One, but you know what? It seems like more and more people that I cross paths with, they're like all about it. They're like, yeah,
well,
you
yeah,
don't
ever
watch
since like
Formula One? I'm
Drive to
like,
Survive came out, it's been very like people are very in touch with the drivers now and everything.
I'm like they're drivers, dude. Like, no, it's Formula One. I was like,
Well,
okay,
I think it's for a
I
lot of
need to
people,
see
it's like the
myself
most
out.
badass version of racing.
No, that's
Kind
Le
of,
Mans. Okay, like I'm sorry, Formula One is cool, but Le Mans is something entirely different. That to me is the most badass type of racing. 24 hours nonstop driving.
that's
That's
insane.
amazing.
That's insane.
Rain, snow, whatever. 24 hours. Like, go watch Ford versus Ferrari and tell me that's not the most like crazy type of race. You know, that would be insane.
Hmm.
24 hours at Le Mans. You need like 8 drivers because they're doing it in shifts. You know what I mean? It's like a relay, but with drivers.
Yeah,
It's like it's nuts.
we thought of this crap. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're like, hey guys, great idea. We're gonna put you in a car.
Kind of dangerous.
We're gonna drive 24 hours a day in the pitch darkness. And we're gonna go several hundred miles an hour while we do it. You in? And you're like, yeah, sign me up. And it wasn't like this race was started like last year. Like decades of this race
No,
happening.
yeah.
You
When
know, a lot
technology
of
was
people
certainly not
died.
as safe.
A lot of people died during Le Mans. So it's that to me. I mean, I know nothing about racing, but like Le Mans and like Baja like rally racing like through the deserts and shit. Like that to me is like
That's like
the
Mad
most,
Max.
yeah, the most hardcore style of racing. I'm sorry. It's like we're just gonna take this Silverado and we're gonna just rip everything out of it, make it super bouncy, and we're just gonna send it through the desert.
Good luck.
Like, yeah, don't die. Okay. There you go. That's it.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
It's a good ending point.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Well, you know what? It's good to be back. It's good to have an episode under the belt.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
It's good to be back in form a little bit mentally. And yeah, so we'll try to keep it as frequent as we can.
Yes, we will. And one last thing. So depending on when this episode airs this week, happy Memorial Day.
Yes, yes, yes. We're
Yes.
for those who are not in the States, we are celebrating those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
Yes.
And it's a
Yes.
big patriotic holiday there, so we're thankful for all of those people. And yeah, happy Memorial Day to you too, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
All right,
veterans. Thank
folks.
you, those that gave the
Yeah,
ultimate
especially
sacrifice. Appreciate it.
a lot of our friends over at the AWWC.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. I'll catch you next time, folks. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you again soon.
Peace.